Pango Madhavananda Matirgati Matsivasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Vrindavana Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopinata Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinata Madana by myself Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Kalindi Radhe Krishna Kishigata Vangsivata Twadasakana Kishigata Vangsivata Twadasakana Kishigata Vangsivata Twadasakana Vangsivata Twadasakana Jahasabalila Koilo Srinandananda Jahasabalila Koilo Jahasabalila Koilo Srinandananda Koilo Yasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Srinanda Yasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Jaya Jaya Tenu Vatsaga Tenu Vatsaga Shidamari Jaya Jaya Tenu Vatsaga Tenu Vatsaga Krishna Jaya Brisha Banu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Brisha Banu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Brisha Banu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Keep going. One more time, bolo bolo. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe. One more time, please, bolo bolo. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Radha Madana Mohan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohan Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Jaya Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shiva Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Shri Prem Data Nityananda Prabhu ki, Shri Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaurahari ki, Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki, Shri Radhakund Shamakund Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji ki, Shri Krishna Janmastami Mahamahotsava ki, Shri Krishna Janmastami Suda Avirbhav Titi Mahamahotsava ki, Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gauragraganya Gana Gotra Goloruharam Gauranga Gudachama Gopyata Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavadam Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hidaya Dariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Taha Gauranga Taha Gaurangira Namare Bolo Bhaja Gauranga Taha Gauranga Gaurangera Namare Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yasheva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bidana Parama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva sampaya pitva rishayustat priya janaha. Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with the blessings of the devotees, I wanted to continue something from where we left off yesterday. As Mars was mentioning something about it this morning, we titled our talk, God's Idiots. And I wanted to read something to you again, a little review from Srila Prabhupada, where he speaks about the purpose of this movement. He said in a morning walk in Los Angeles on the 3rd of May, 1973, this should be our program. Our propaganda means to make people happy. It's not a business to make business and take some money. Later earlier in Hong Kong, in April 20th, 1972, Prabhupada said, we are making a teeny effort. How to make people happy. Our only business is to make people happy. We have no other desire. We don't say, you give us some money in exchange of your Krishna consciousness. No, that's not our business. We're not merchants. We're spreading this Krishna consciousness free of charge. We are engaged servants of Krishna. Krishna will provide for us. Krishna will provide for us. Our mission is like that. We are asking people without any argument or social or political purpose. Simply we're asking that you chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Wherever we're opening our branches, it's our only business that we're requesting people to chant Hare Krishna or Radha Krishna. We don't want anything. We don't want to do any business. We're simply spreading this Hare Krishna mantra because people are being washed away. So I'm just going to review a little bit from yesterday. In our yesterday's session, we spoke something about the meaning of the word idiot. Satyananda Maharaj is kindly repeating some of that this morning. Generally, it means a stupid person. It comes from a Latin word, a Greek word actually, idiotes. Idiotes means someone who's a private person, an individual. And we compared it to the Sanskrit word nir. Nir is a prefix in Sanskrit, but it's also a word on its own. In the Gita, Krishna says, nirmamo nirahankara, without any ahankara, without any false ego. Nir means without, as a prefix. But as a standalone word, it means an idiot. And it has, we gave, probably over a dozen different meanings of the Sanskrit word nir yesterday. It also means a private person, or someone who's lonely, someone who doesn't fit in with everyone else. It means someone who, they're not learned, they're not a social person, they're kind of a simpleton. Means someone who doesn't have any lusty desires, someone who's devoid of hope. I like that definition a lot. When you have no more hope, you're just an idiot. Right? Someone who has no friends, who's indifferent, that's a nir. And a similar word, there's idiotes. Idiotes in Greek, that from that comes a Latin word idiota, which we get the word idiot from, an ignorant person. It means a private person, and linguists just suggested that perhaps the word was given as opposed to the word stratiotes. Stratiotes and idiotes. Stratiotes means a soldier, someone who's marching, as Maharaj commented this morning, marching in the army. Whereas idiotes means someone he's just not marching in step. He's just an idiot. Huh? Like Judd Bart. Maharaj was speaking the other day how Judd Bart, he's an idiot. He's supposed to be carrying Maharaj Rahugan's palanquin, but he starts marching out of step. He's supposed to march in step, and that's what everybody's supposed to do, right? So we were speaking about how people in the world generally don't have a problem with religion because they have a little box that they put it in, and religion means something that you do for some prestige and for some profit, to acquire some followers, to get some money. But the followers of this movement are just a bunch of idiots because they don't make any sense. They're not doing it. They're not good with banking or accounting maybe or management. They're just going out in the streets and chanting Hare Krishna, and God knows what the world are those people doing. And we call them idiots. And we can't figure them out. I spent a few years of my life traveling around America in a small van distributing books. And as was the system in those days for us, we would get up early in the morning, we'd take a shower outside the van in a bucket, and then we'd go someplace to chant japa. And one such morning, we were in a public park in the middle of some small town in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know even what the word Hare Krishna meant. And we're walking back and forth in the park. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, chanting japa, and all of a sudden the police came. And what had happened, someone saw us chanting japa in the park, and they called the police, and they said, there's 2 people in the park who are on heroin. They can't figure it out. I mean, what in the world are they doing? Huh? Another time, I'll tell you another traveling Sankirtan story. We were in Texas, and Texas is a very interesting place. And there was about 4 or 5 of us. We were in our small van, and we were looking for a place to take our daily ritualistic bath, which we're supposed to take as brahmacharis, very important. And we couldn't find a place, so we just went down some alley. We were in downtown, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And we had the doors of the van open. It was kind of a portable shower stall, and I had this bucket pouring water over my head. And all of a sudden, the police pulled up across from us in the alley, and the devotee said, hey, the police here, oh my God. So I jump in the van, I'm drying off, and he, what should we? I said, just start driving. So we start driving out of the alley slowly, and the policeman starts following us, 4 o'clock in the morning. We come out into the main street, and all of a sudden there's like 6 cop cars, police cars, all around. So we didn't know we were taking bath behind a bank. And they thought we were trying to rob the bank or something like that. So it just so happened we were in the deep south where people, they kind of talk like this, or they're deep rednecks, and they don't like Hare Krishna people or people of color either. And it just so happened the devotee who was driving the van had 2 strikes against him. He's a Hare Krishna devotee, plus he had a black body. And the policeman came up to the van door and he said, what the hell are you boys doing here? And we said, well, sir, you see, we're monks, and we're out here distributing love of God, and we're taking our bath behind your bank in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. He couldn't really understand. He was just kind of shocked and stared at us a little bit, and he just told us, get the hell out of town. And they drove us out. Now, there's many stories like that. The devotees are idiots. What kind of person is going to take a bath behind a bank at 4 o'clock in the morning in a small town? It's just a completely crazy thing. You may have heard the early days of the Radha Damodar party in America, when devotees, pretty much everybody who joined us incidentally, were all artists and musicians, because that was a cool thing to do, Hare Krishna in those days. And they were also in the deep south, I don't know, somewhere in Louisiana or something, and they got arrested just for being weird. And they put them in jail. And the devotees, it was a Sunday. And what do Hare Krishna devotees do on Sunday? You have a Sunday feast. You may have heard this story. So they remembered in the Nectar of Devotion, where Srila Prabhupada speaks about how one Brahmin was cooking sweet rice for Krishna in his mind, and offering it in his mind. So they said, so we should have a Sunday feast program here in the jail. And you can make the pakoras, and you make the sabji, and you make the puris. And so everybody was sitting there, and some of them were kind of rolling things and putting like this, and some of them were doing it. And the guards are like watching these guys, and then they cooked everything in their minds with their hands, and then they made an altar in their mind, and they all bowed down and they offered their imaginary foodstuffs. And then what is the first thing they did? Of course, they made a plate and offered it to the jailers. Would you like some prasadam? And people say that we're idiots. So we were speaking about this point that kirtan, or bhakti itself, should be ahoitaki apratiyata. It has no other motivation. When it has some other motivation, then it's not Sudha Bhakti, and it's not Yayatma Supersedity. It's not pleasing to the self. And as Vishwanath comments elsewhere, that the word Atma also refers to Paramatma. Not just that Bhakti just pleases me, but it pleases the Lord. It's not pleasing to the Lord if we have some personal motivation. And it doesn't matter what external things you do, what kind of tilak you wear, will you wear sari or dhoti, or big scandal, you're not wearing a sari or a dhoti. Or you're dressed like the Vaishnavas do in Rajasthan. The men wear kind of like a pantsuit thing, or the ladies in South India, they wear what do you call it, a kata tail in the back of their sari. Or in Gujarat, where they cover their head, or in the villages in Orissa and West Bengal, where the ladies don't wear a choli or anything on top except for a sari cloth. Those things are not the essential thing. But some people will see it like that. And there are many people in Orissa who chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Someone asked us a question in one of our parikramas a few years ago. We'd gone to Alarnath, Brahmagiri. And interesting question from the devotee. He said that I was speaking to a panda in the Jagannath Mandir, and I was surprised when he said to me that, Jagannath is Savisesh Brahman. And he was speaking impersonal philosophy, that Jagannath is a form of Brahman. And he said, how do we understand that? And then I asked the devotees, I said, how many of you, on our way here, we went through a small village doing Harinam, how many of you noticed all the tulsi stambhas practically in front of everybody's house? And they all raised their hands. They noticed that. And I said, how many of you noticed the writing in Oriya underneath almost all those tulsi stambhas? Is kind of a thing that they do, especially in that area, all over Orissa, also near our house in Puri. And nobody had really noticed that. They don't pick up on Oriya language. I said, there's some writing of 16 words. Do you know what it says? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there's so many of them, they're chanting Hare Krishna. And if you go to the Govardhan Mutt, I probably wouldn't recommend it. They wouldn't allow you inside. Once I went inside and they caught me, they don't allow foreigners inside. That was established by Shankaracharya, and they have the Puri Shankaracharya who lives at it. He's one of the most influential people in Puri. They also chant Hare Krishna there, but they have a different conception about it. So we need to understand the point Srila Prabhupada is making. Our only business is to make people happy. Our only business is to ask people to chant Hare Krishna. And we do many other things to help with that. We told a story yesterday about Odalomi Maharaj, which is a story I like very much, how the devotees, some of the collectors, were thinking the temple was dependent on them. And seeing their mood, Odalomi Maharaj stopped all the collection and told them, we're just going to do kirtan. Nobody's going out for any collect. But Guru Maharaj, how will we eat? Just chant. And it was pretty intense. And they didn't have anything to eat for a few days. But they just kept doing kirtan. And then suddenly people just started coming spontaneously. And Krishna took care, as Srila Prabhupada is saying here. So someone came to me and they really liked that story. And I was reflecting on it afterwards, and I don't want devotees to misunderstand that story, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was sending disciples out for collection. So was Srila Prabhupada. So was Odalomi Maharaj. Actually, it wasn't their main program, but he saw this fault of some pride in those devotees. If he didn't send them out for collection, how would he engage some of us who have a passionate nature, who can't just sit and chant, but we're good at making money and doing something? How can we be engaged? And how can we engage so many other people who might not be engaged in the process of guna bhakti or secondary bhakti? So that's a kind of mercy. But we see that this movement is ohaitakiya pratiyata. if we really want to join this movement, if we want to really do kirtan in this movement. And we spoke about how the devotees before the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nabadwip, they were doing kirtan before Mahaprabhu appeared. And they were lamenting like anything because people were just making fun of them. People had no interest whatsoever in it. But they were Hindus. They were pious people. What was the word used? What's the word? In that prayer to Radharani. Pasandya. They describe them as being pashandis. Suniya pashandi boli. A pashandi means an atheist. We often translate it like that. But pashandi actually means a lot more. Pashandi, as we said in this prayer, which we didn't translate yesterday, very nice prayer. Pashanjaham aho nityam paraparada dharmaka kshamashamam hari radha dehi me sadhu dharmakam. My dear Radharani, I'm a pashandi. Well, you don't look like an atheist. No. Pashandi means someone who looks like a theist, but they're not. They're a pretender. That one of the meanings of pashandi is a pretender. I'm a pashandi. Well, how often are you a pashandi? Is it just something that happened today? Pashancham aho nityam. No, I'm always like that. And in fact, paraparada dharmakaha, my dharma, my nature is, I'm just always going around committing offenses to everybody. So, kshamashamam hare radha. I'm asking Srimati Radharani to please be kind. Dehi me sadhu dharmakam. Please make me into a genuine sadhu, not just a pashandi. So Vrindavan Das Thakur says that the residents of Nabadwip, they were pashandis. It means probably they were Hindus of different types, maybe even worshippers of Lord Vishnu, but they couldn't figure out what in the world these people are doing. It's nice, you do kirtan on Janmastami. You do kirtan for a namkaran ceremony, when you're giving a name to your child, or at a marriage ceremony or something. But doing kirtan just for the sake of doing kirtan, it didn't make any sense to them. And they thought, these people are idiots. But it was that mood of the devotees there in Nabadwip which brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's that mood amongst the devotees in our Sangha that we want for Janmastami. Otherwise, our Janmastami may become like the Janmastami we see many times in Jagannath Puri. Staying in Jagannath Puri for so many years, 29 years now, it makes me think this is what our society could be like in the future. Where the Pandits, they're worshipping Jagannath and Radha Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes, but they're charging money. And they're very, very greedy, and they're very, very much absorbed in their rules and regulations. And their consideration, their vichar, is smarta vichar. Our consideration is Goswami vichar. We're not interested in all those rules and regulations. Rupa Goswami cites, smarta vyasatatam vishnu vishmarta vinajati chit sarve vidi nisedasya etayor eva kinkaraha. That all these rules and regulations, the smarta satatam Vishnu, Vishmartavya, remember Krishna, don't forget Krishna. That's everything. That's the essence of our movement. And yes, we have a building, and yes, we have bills to pay, and I'll bet you anything, they didn't ask me this, but I'll bet you anything, if you give some donations while you're here, it'll be greatly appreciated. And it'll be well spent, because this is a temple, a place which is a box carrying a gift. We don't want to pay so much attention to the box, but sometimes you need to protect the box. But we want to pay attention as a gift. The gift inside is the Hare Krishna mantra. Not everybody appreciates it. Some people, they get a present and they just, wow, it's such a nice box. I love my box. And they just hug it and they never open it. They just like the box. Well, excuse me, there's a gift inside the box. So Srila Prabhupada, he came, he did something a little unorthodox. He made an institution because he saw it works well to spread Krishna consciousness. When Srila Prabhupada signed the legal documents for ISKCON. Chutananda was there, one of the early devotees. And I saw one of his remembrances of Prabhupada, and he commented, he said, at that momentous occasion when Srila Prabhupada signed the documents, at that time he turned to us and he said, actually, we don't need this. For ourselves, we can sit under a tree and chant Hare Krishna. Of course, that's what he did, right, in Tompkins Square Park. He said, but if we do that, then who will come? Who's going to go to America at the age of 70 and sit under a tree without having any contacts and have 40 rupees in his pocket, not know anyone, and just sit under a tree and chant Hare Krishna? Please forgive me, but you would probably call that person an idiot, isn't it? What's he doing? He's not doing a business. This is a movement which is started by idiots, and it's maintained by idiots. And the purpose is, it's a little secret, they want to make all of you into idiots also. Not into expert bankers or managers or like this or that. That's okay. That's part of the box. And we do that. And we want to help the building. We want to help this project. Because where else do we find a place in this part of the world where people can tell us about the chanting of Hare Krishna? We can come together and chant and do kirtan together. We want to help support that. But that's just the box. And if we only take care of the box and we neglect what's inside, then it becomes a little sad. So we have to remember these words of Srila Prabhupada. Our only business is to make people happy. Our business is to get people to chant Hare Krishna. But people aren't going to understand that. So you make a building, you make an institution, they say, oh, I understand that. These guys are a religion. And they believe it. Sometimes we believe it also. Everybody else, we're in religion. Oh yeah, we must be a religion. We're registered like that, legally, like this or that. But actually, Srila Prabhupada, as we mentioned the other day, he wrote in a letter to Ronald Michener, the then governor of Canada. He said that our society is a non-lucrative movement, and we have members coming from Christian, Muslim, Sikh, and Hindu backgrounds, and they can keep their respective religions and still be a member of this movement. Wow. That was the vision that Srila Prabhupada had. Let's understand Srila Prabhupada's vision. You can't separate Krishna from his devotee. I was reading a wonderful book yesterday, a little bit, just meditating some on Janmastami. It's a book by Nanda Kishore Goswami. He's said to be a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He was a mahant at Nityananda Vat, near to Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. He wrote a beautiful book called Vrindavan Lilamrita, which I doubt if any of you have read unless you read Bengali. It's a very nice book, very, very sweet. And he has a chapter there, I think it's chapter 21, where he speaks about Krishna's Janma. And I was just looking over that to see if there's anything I wanted to share. And what's the whole chapter about? The whole bulk of the chapter is not about Krishna. The whole bulk of the chapter is about Nanda Maharaj and Upananda and Brishabhanu and the different brothers of Brishabhanu and the different personalities who appeared in Vrindavan before Krishna appeared. You can't separate the appearance of Krishna from the appearance of the devotee. As Krishna says in the Adi Purana we mentioned yesterday, Ye me bhakta jana partana me bhakta sate janaha. Mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas te me bhakta tamo mataha. Krishna says, those people say they're my devotee, they're not my devotee. I don't know who they are. But those persons who are devotees of my devotees, they're my real devotees. And therefore the the Vraja Purana describes, is quoted in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Siddhir bhavati vanati sangseo chuta sevinam. For those achuta sevaks, those servants, as we mentioned yesterday, of Radha, Mad, and Mohan, siddhir bhavati vanati sangseo. There's some sangsay, some doubt whether they're going to achieve perfection or not. That's really a sobering comment, isn't it? But Nasangsayo, there's no doubt. Nasangsayo stutad bhaktas paricharya ritatmanam. For those devotees who come to Goloka Dham, who are very intelligent, and are coming for the opportunity to serve the servants of Radha Madan Mohan. For those devotees who want to be the devotees of Krishna, and Nasangsayo stutad bhaktas paricharya ritatmanam, there's no doubt they're going to get perfection. And in fact, I think that's what the good pujaris of Radha Madan Mohan are doing also. They're thinking, I'm doing this on behalf of my Gurudev. Sri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shingara Tan Mandira Marjanaro Yuktasya Bhaktam Chanayunjatopi. He's engaging me in this service. I'm doing a service so I'll inspire the devotees. Not because Radha Madan Mohan are talking to me, maybe some of the pujaris, I don't know. But not because they're directly speaking to me, because I want to please Krishna's devotees. And when we have an atmosphere like that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lochandas Thakur describes in Chaitanya Mangal his departing words from Mayapur. We give a whole seminar about this, and I don't remember the Bengali. I could dig it up if someone's really interested. But he gave them different instructions. He said, you establish this movement by chanting Hare Krishna. And he said to them, you serve and worship each other. That's a real festival. When we love, that's the Vrindavan village. That's the Vrindavan mood. Not just when we come and I want to have darshan of Radha Madan Mohan. That's wonderful. I want to serve Radha Madan. That's wonderful. But the devotees, we don't care for the devotees. That's the nature of a Kanishta Adhikari. That they don't appreciate the devotees. They don't give respect to other people. Oh, he has different tilak on. They're from a different line. They're a Christian. They're a Muslim. Excuse me, sir, you can't come in. And then it becomes something motivated. But our movement is for everyone. Therefore, it's a bunch of idiots. Because we're not here like everybody else to make a business out of things. And so we heard about the devotees in Mayapur and how they were praying and crying. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Sankirtanaika Pitaro, Vrindavan Das Thakur says he's the father of the Sankirtan movement. He's also, an idiot. And he says so himself. We'll hear that. When he was speaking to Prakashananda Saraswati, who was a very, very learned person, Mahaprabhu was asked by him, what are you doing? You're just dancing and singing in the street? And Mahaprabhu replied, Darya Dari Te Nari Haila Unmata Hasi Kandi Nachi Gai Jachi Madhumata Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. He said, I don't know. I met those Hare Krishna people. I started chanting. And then I became Madhumata. I became a mad person. It's true what you're saying. I'm a sannyasi. I should be studying Vedanta. I should be chanting Purusha Shukta. What am I doing? Chanting and dancing? He said, but I just can't control myself. Pagala ilan ami darya nahi mane eti chinti nivedilum guru racharane Hare Krishna. I became a puggle. I became a mad person. I joined the Hare Krishna movement to get something, and I just became a mad person. So many people were so disturbed. What happened to their son or daughter? They were going to the university, and now they're standing out on the street all day selling flowers and chanting Hare Krishna and dancing. Well, they just wasted their life. They become idiots. In a movement of idiots. And a movement started by an idiot who said, Pagal Haila Ami. I'm Pagal. I'm a mad person. I'm crazy. Daira Nahimani. I have no patience. I just can't control myself. When I started chanting this Hare Krishna, I just became mad. And so I went to my Guru Maharaj and I said, hey, Kiba mantra dila gosai, kiba tara bolo, japite mantra kore le pagala he, Hare Krishna. Kiba mantra dila, what kind of mantra did you give me? What is my mother going to think? She loves her son, and now her son has become a mad person. Kiba mantra dila, what kind of mantra did you give me? And now by this mantra, I'm becoming pagal. Japite mantra kalile pagal. I've just become a mad person chanting this mantra. It makes me laugh and dance and cry. I can't stop all this thing. And my Guru Maharaj, when he saw that, he told me, Krishna Nama Maha Mantra Heta Swabhav Jehi Japa Tada Krishna Upajaya Bhave Hare Krishna. This is a mantra swabhav, or the nature of this Hare Krishna mantra, that you chant this mantra, and when you chant this, then this upajaya bhav, this bhav, it arises in your heart. And you become a bad person. And he tells him, Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purushatar Jada Agi Chinatuya Chari Purusharta Hare Krishna. He said that this chanting Hare Krishna, this is Parama Purusharta. This is a supreme artha, Purusharta, the supreme goal of life, in comparison to which these other Chari Purushartas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, which so many people practice Dharma, religion for, to get their Artha, to get their Kama, or to get their Moksha. He says those things are very, very insignificant. We don't care about those things. We reject those things. They're called Kaitiva Chatustoi, or 4 types of cheating Dharma, in comparison to Panchama Purusharta, or the 5th and highest goal, which is Krishna Prem. So, he told Mahaprabhu, Nacha Gao Bhakta Sange Karo Sankirtan Krishna Nama Upadeshitar Sadajan Hare Krishna. Nacha Gao Bhakta Sange Koro Sankirtan. He says you do Sankirtan. How do you do Sankirtan? Nacha Gao Bhakta Sange. You dance. And when you can't even control yourself, it just happens automatically. Gao, you just start singing. Shri Chaitanya Mukod Ginan Hare Krishna Divarnikaha Majayanti Jagat Premni Vijayanti Tadabaha. Rupa Goswami gives this verse in Lagu Bhagavatam. He says that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's kirtan. It's like a volcano exploding. It wasn't a mental adjustment. Yeah, okay, looks like it's 4:30. I think I'll get up and go to Mangalartik. No mental adjustment. It just was an explosion. That's the Sankirtan movement. Nacha, Gao, Bhakta Sangi, with the devotees. Sadhu Sangha Krishna Nam E Matra Chai. That's all that I desire, is chanting the holy name, but in association with devotees. And he told them that Krishna Nama Upadeshitar Sarvajan. You take this mantra and these instructions and give this to everyone. We want the whole world to become idiots. And that's why people think we're a crazy movement. They're right. We're just a bunch of idiots. And Mahaprabhu, he told them that my Guru Maharaj, he told me, Murka tumi tomar Vedanta adi karnai. You're just a murka. What does a murka mean? Fool. You're putting it in a nice way. It means an idiot. Murka tumi. My Guru Maharaj told me, you're just an idiot. You don't have qualification for a Bhakti Vedanta degree. I'm sorry. Or Bhakti Shastri degree, or for studying Vedanta. You just chant Hare Krishna. And that's why Mahaprabhu told Prakasananda, that's why I'm not coming and studying and doing really important things like you guys are doing. I'm just in the street with a bunch of crazy people chanting Hare Krishna for no reason. And that chanting is the greatest thing. That chanting brings about the Lord. That chanting is a real wealth. And so we spoke a little bit yesterday also about Gorkishore Babaji. We could speak about Vamsidas Babaji. Gorkishore Babaji was a madman. He's a religionist. He's chanting Hare Krishna. But you know, one of the things he used to sometimes do, he would go and beg for fish from people. Aha. See, he's thinking, yes, now I knew it. Fish is okay, right? He's thinking, no, it's not what he's begging fish for another reason, because he wanted to put it all around the outside of his ashram. And after a few days, it has a very wonderful fragrance. Not quite like what we have in the incense here. And people come to see the big sadhu, and they, oh my God, and they go away. Gorkishore Babaji had many followers, actually. The first English translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita was done by Chaudhary, I can't remember his first name. It was done in 1965, before Srila Prabhupada came to America. I have a few copies of that in our library in Jagannath Puri. And he's said to have been a follower, a disciple of Gorkishore Babaji. Anyway, on one occasion, many people were coming to see him. And see, Gorkishore Babaji was what we would call in Sanskrit a nir. He's someone who is by himself. He's an idiot, because what he's doing doesn't make any sense. There's no purpose in it. He's not going to get a beautiful girl running around naked and just eating nothing for days at a time, and sometimes reaching over and taking some Ganga mud when his stomach starts growling and eating that. Or as we spoke yesterday, asking people for their stool so that other people would stay away from him. He's a madman. So many people were coming to hear from him on a regular basis. And one day he told them, he said, hey, you know, tomorrow, it's a very good day. Tomorrow is a big festival. I said, really? Yeah, there's Rath Yatras going on in Nabadwip. And they said, Babaji Maharaj, should we go? Yes, you should go. Very nice festival. So the next day, when Gorkishore, he got up, one devotee came to see him, and that's all. And they sat, the two of them, doing Nam Bhajan, and Gorkishore at one point started laughing. And he said, all those Vishai Bhaktas, all those devotees who just want to have a good time, good party, they went to the big party in Nabadwip to see the pretty girls and to get some nice rasgullas and to have a good time. But those persons who are serious about sadhu sangha, they've come here today, which was one person. He's a madman. That's Gorkishore Babaji. So this is a society of mad persons. And we spoke yesterday something about this verse from Jan Chandra Goswami's Gaur Govinda Smarana Archana Padati, which, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur in our line, is a little different line than ourselves. They're practicing more Smarana than we do. We emphasize more on Nam. But they also emphasize Nam. He was a disciple of Gopal Guru Goswami and living in the Gambhira. And as his persons are still there today. If you go there, Krishna Gopal Maharaj, he's the Mahant there today. Very nice. Sometimes they let us give some talks there and do programs and things. So anyway, he's described what the lakshana, or the characteristic of japa is. And he says, we spoke about this yesterday, mano madhyestito mantra, that when your mind becomes one with a mantra, mantra madhyestitam manaha, and the mantra becomes one with your mind. Mano mantra samayuktam, when your mind and the mantra become one, etadi japa lakshanam. That's real japa. That's real chanting in our movement. And so we spoke something about how the connection between chanting Hare Krishna and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, having Krishna Katha, and how these two have a symbiotic relationship. We don't neglect one for the other. But Krishna Katha represents Radha, and Krishna Nam represents Krishna. And both are required. We don't know how to chant Hare Krishna. We don't know who Krishna is without Radha. Without Krishna Katha, we can't come together. And just as in this verse is describing that mano manta samayukta, we want to make our mind one in japa. We also want to make our minds and hearts one in kirtan. So when we have festivals traditionally in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it's not only kirtan, not only kirtan mela, but there's also Krishna Katha. Otherwise, what is the conception of your kirtan? It may be like those persons at the Govardhan Mutt in Jagannath Puri who are chanting Hare Krishna to get mukti, Kaivalya mukti, so they can merge with the Supreme. What is the conception? So we have Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan together. Those two things are very important. So I wanted to read you a little something today. It's kind of a review from yesterday and a little expansion on it. From the Chaitanya Bhagavat again. This is from the Adi Lila, chapter 17. And it speaks something about hearing Krishna Katha. Krishna Jasa Shunite Se Krishna Sangha Pai Ishvarera Sangitar Kabo Tyajanai Hare Krishna. Krishna Yasa. What does Yasa mean? Who knows what Yasa means? You should know what Yasa means on this day. Who is the Da who gives Yasa? Yes, put those two together. Da means to give. Who is Yasoda? So what is she giving? Da means to give. What is she giving? Love. Yasa, that's a good guess. You get some points for that, but it's not correct. What does Yasa mean? It means fame. And she's giving fame to Krishna because she's such a wonderful mother, or Krishna's giving fame to her. So he says, Krishna Yasa Shunite. We should hear about the glories of Krishna, the fame of Krishna. Say Krishna Sangha Pai. And by doing that, you directly associate with Krishna. Ishvarera Sangitar Kabu Chajanai. And if you do like that, you're never separated from Krishna. If you just worship the deity, we don't really know. Are you going to be with Krishna or not with Krishna? And therefore, Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he says, Kirtanakya Bhakti, Samyoginaiva. You should practice Kirtanakya Bhakti. You may practice Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, the different Navavidi Bhakti, ninefold processes of bhakti, but all of them must be connected with Krishna Nam. And that Krishna Nam must be connected with Sadhu Sangha. Because it's by Sadhu Sangha that we get Krishna Nam, and it's by Krishna Nam that we get deeper Sadhu Sangha, that we create a deeper Sangha. And then by that deeper Sangha, that deeper Sadhu Sangha, what do we get? We get even deeper Krishna Nam. And from even deeper Krishna Nam, what do we get? Even deeper Sadhu Sangha. These two are the only things that we need. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said our only business is to make people happy. Our only business is to get people to chant Hare Krishna. When we say to make people happy, that means we're making friends. Because we're making them happy, they become your friend. That's our only business. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada comments on this verse in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I'm just going to read you an English translation of it. It wasn't written in English, it was written in Bengali. He says, by hearing glorification of Gaura Krishna, one achieves Gaura Krishna's direct association, because the topics of Krishna and the names of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself. In other words, the personality of Krishna is absolute or non-dual. There's no tinge of differentiation between him and his names as there is in the illusory world. In the transcendental topics of Gaura, there are no topics devoid of Krishna's glories. Therefore, there's no reason for one to separate Gaura Lila from Krishna Lila. So on this day today, I'd like to speak a little something to you today about Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila. Satyananda Maharaj was appreciating this verse that we were quoting yesterday, how Sanatana Goswami in Krishna Lila Stava says, Rupa Nama Ashrita Avishta. Rupa Nama Avishta Ashrita. Ashrita Avishta. That someone who takes shelter of Krishna's form, someone who takes shelter of Krishna's name, Ashrita, then Avishta, something happens to them. They become an idiot. And they're no longer interested in all the management things and all the money things, unless, of course, it's to help to support the chanting of Hare Krishna. And then they're very strong to support that. But they're not interested in anything else. They have no other motivation. And yesterday we told a story I'd like to look back at just for a moment. From Jaiva Dharma, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells a story about two young devotees, Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, and how they received initiation. And how sweet that ceremony was, how they fell down at the feet of their Babaji, Guru Maharaj, and they offered respect to him, and they took the dust from all the Vaishnavas' feet, not just from the feet of their Gurudev, but they respected all the Vaishnavas who were there, regardless of whether they were god brothers or not. And then they arranged for a big boga offering at Srivasanga to the deities of the Panchatattva. And that offering was made, and the prasadam came out. The devotees were all doing kirtan, a big group of devotees had gathered together. They were having Harikatha, doing kirtan. And then Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, they began to distribute prasadam. Everyone please sit down. And they personally began to serve the prasadam. They just got initiated. We want the Ashirvad, the blessing of all the Vaishnavas. And the Vaishnavas were all served prasadam, but they just sat there, none of them taking it. And we spoke something about that yesterday. And then they told Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, you should take prasadam also. No. We're new. You take first. No, you take. Okay. And they sat down and prasadam was brought before them, but they didn't take. And the devotees, the sadhus, noticed. And then they appealed to Vijay Kumar and Brajanath's guru. You tell them to eat. So then when he told them you eat, then they began to take prasadam. And something happened in that sangha. Suddenly they saw Sachimata bringing offerings to Nimai. They saw Malini Devi, the wife of Srivas Thakur, bringing offerings. They saw Sita Thakurani, the wife of Advaita Charya. And then they saw Nimai and Nitai, Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, and all the associates, and all the devotees in that Sangha there at Srivas Sangha that day who was getting ready to take prasadam were stunned in ecstasy. Really, that's Janmastami. That's the appearance festival. And what was it that brought about that most wondrous occasion, which Krishna in the Gita, he says, this is Raja Vidya, this is Raja Guyam, this is the topmost thing. Can there be something more topmost than to see the Lord and to get some service to the Lord? That's Raja Vidya, but it's Raja Guyam, very confidential. But another characteristic of it is, it's Pratyaksavagamam Dharmyam. It's Pratyaksha Dharma. It's meant to be practically experienced. And that's the wonderful thing about this movement. It's not a theoretical movement. It's a movement, as we mentioned yesterday. We're all supposed to be moving. That means Hari Bol, like this. That's the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to join that movement. So this happened in Srivas Anga because of the wonderful atmosphere amongst the Vaishnavas. It's not said that because they were doing the rituals in such a wonderful way, or this or that, but it's said because of the humility of Vijay Kumar and Brajanath and how they were serving all the Vaishnavas and creating such a wonderful atmosphere that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So let's have a clear understanding of what the Janmastami festival means. We're not here just to do some rituals. That's nice, and if you came here for that, that's okay. We love you anyway. It's all right. But please understand, Srila Prabhupada said our business is to make people happy. Our business is to get people to chant Hare Krishna. Our business is to serve the Vaishnavas. Siddhir bhavati vanati sangseostuta sevinam. We don't know if those servants of Radha, Mad, and Mohan are going to get perfection or not. There's a doubt. But the servants of Radha, Mad, and Mohan, definitely they're going to get benefit. So we come here for that purpose. To see the deities, yes. And we do kirtan for them. Tate Krishna Bhaji Kore Guru Sevan. We do that kirtan. That bhajan that we're doing is our Guru Seva. Gurudev wants to see us chant Hare Krishna, not chant Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. There's a Jai Guru Sampradaya in Orissa. They're very popular in West Bengal. And they chant Jai Gurudev, Jai Guru. We're not here for that. Gurudev likes it when we chant Hare Krishna. He gets so much pleasure from that. He gets pleasure when we sincerely worship Radha, Madan, Mohan. But I don't have any sincerity. Sanatana Goswami, I think it's Sanatana, maybe Rupa. He says, Na prema shavanadi bhakti rapi vayogo tava Vaishnavo. He said, I'm not a Vaishnav. I have no prema, I have no bhakti, I have no sadhana bhakti, I have no knowledge about bhakti, I have nothing. All that I have is my service to my Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. But Gurudev wants to see me worship Radha, Madan, Mohan with sincerity. It gives him happiness and pleasure. So the servants of Radha, Madan, Mohan, if they're thinking like that I'm serving Radha, Madan, Mohan because it'll bring Gurudev pleasure, it'll bring pleasure to the Vaishnavas. They're getting so much benefit. And we're coming here. I'm coming here. I don't know about you guys, but I'm coming here because I want to serve the servants of Radha, Madan, Mohan because they're very, very special. The devotees here have been so dedicated for so many, many years. And they have a standard of worship here which you can't find even in many traditional temples in India. And they work very, very hard, and sometimes there's practically no one to do things, and still they go on, they maintain that standard. And that's wonderful. And it's nice to serve Radha, Madan, Mohan, but I'd like to serve those servants. For me, I think that's an even more special thing. If we have a festival like that, a festival like Vijay Kumar and Brajanath put on, then definitely Krishna will appear. So I'd like to speak a little something more about this statement from Sanatana Goswami, where he says that Rupa Namashrita Vishta, that Krishna takes shelter. Krishna enters into that devotee who's taking shelter of his form and the name. And I'd like to speak about how there's another way that goes on. There's a beautiful verse. This is written by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is part of his Mangalacharna for Govinda Lilamrita. It's a very, very beautiful verse. Listen carefully. Gokular Gokulam Ninye, Gokulam Gokular Haran, Gokulam Gokula Strinam, Gokular Gokuleshvaraha. Gokular Gokulam Ninye, Gokulam Gokular Haran. The Lord of Gokul drove his cows. Gokul also means to drive the cows. It's a place, but it also is a verb to move the cows. As he entered Gokul, stealing the senses Gokul, because Go also means the gopis, and Kula means to take. He stole the senses of the gopis, Gokula, and the eyes of the people of Gokul. This is Krishna. This is a great thief. So when we speak about Mano Manta Samaya Yuktam, that we want our mind to become one with the mantra, we can't do it on our own. Rather, someone has to come and steal our mind. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was complaining about. He said, Guru Maharaj, he told Ishwara Puri, you gave me this mantra. What kind of mantra is this? I started chanting this mantra and my mind became stolen. And Murka to me. I became a fool. I became an idiot. I lost my mind. We want Krishna to steal our mind. Rupa Namashrita Vishta. There's a story in Braj that there was one gopi. We just attended a marriage ceremony with some Goswami family, traditional Brijbasi marriage in Mathura. Very, very beautiful. They're singing so many Brijbasi kirtans during the festival. It lasted for 26 hours nonstop. I'm still trying to get over it. But it was quite something to see. So this girl, she was from some other place in Rajasthan, and now she's living in her husband's house. They met at the wedding. They'd never met before. It was an arranged wedding. Very beautiful thing, very traditional. So in Braj is a similar story. There's one young girl. She's from a different place, and she got married, and she came to live in Nandagaon. And this is a time of Krishna. She'd heard about Krishna's form and Krishna's name. And she had this great desire to see Krishna. And all the other ladies would come out every day to see Krishna. My Guru Maharaj told us this story. They would come out to see Krishna as he was going to herd the cows. But when this young girl wanted to also go out to see Krishna, her mother-in-law said, Prabhashini said, you can't go out. You can't do that. You can't come in. Because there's a black snake out there. And that black snake will bite you. And you'll become mad. So she had some desire to see. And one day Krishna had come with the cows, and there was a little hole in the door. And she put her eye right up to that hole, and she was looking, and she saw the beautiful form of Shyam Sundar, Vrindavan Bihari Krishna. Krishna, yeyatam mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam, knows the heart of his devotees. And understanding the heart of that young lady, there was a small calf in front of him. Krishna grabbed the tail of that calf and twisted it in such an expert way that the calf went running right to the door of that young lady. And Krishna went to get that calf. And he stopped right in front of the door. And he smiled in a very enchanting way. And that young girl, she lost her mind. And her mother-in-law, she came back and said, hey, what happened to you? Hey, talk to me. Oh no, the black snake. Something happened to her. So they told her, hey, you churn some butter, some makkan. Ladies still do that in the villages in Braj today. It's a very, very sweet thing. And they have so much hospitality. You go there, they may give you some Braj rotis and butter, but don't go with a big group. Go with a few people. It's a very sweet thing. So, but she's become an idiot. One of God's idiots. She's become controlled by Krishna. By seeing the Rupa namashrita avishta, Sanatana Goswami says. By taking shelter of that form, avishta, Krishna entered into her mind and she became Pavgalini. She became a mad woman. And she's supposed to be churning the butter, but the butter was there and she took a box of mustard seeds and dumped them in the churner and started grinding mustard seeds, and started making a loud noise. People said, hey, what are you doing? You're supposed to be churning butter, crazy woman. Someone's here, take the baby and go get some water. You got to give her something that affects her mind. Bring her mind back. So she took the baby and she went out to the well. And the system is you take a bucket, you tie the bucket to a rope, you drop the bucket in the well, and you get the water. She had the baby on her arm. She took the baby, tied the rope around the baby's waist, and started to drop the baby into the well. And someone said, hey, what are you doing? She's crazy. She's become completely mad. And someone said that she's just lost her mind. Said, no, we know what happened. She got bit by that black snake, Krishna. So this is Janmastami. And Sanatana Goswami gives this verse in the 14th obeisance, 12th obeisance, I think it is, which speaks about the appearance of Krishna. That this is how we make Krishna appear. Rupa namashrita vishta. This is a real thing. We want Krishna to appear in our hearts. And so that's one example. Another example, that's Rup. Let's think about Nam. I'd like to take you, I did some transliteration from a very wonderful book called Bhakti Ratnakar. And this is from the second chapter. There's a devotee, his name was Gangadhar Bhattacharya, and he was a really nice person. And just one day he happened to be in a small village called Katwa. And there was a big crowd of people gathered around, and he wanted to see what's going on. And he saw the sadhu there, Keshava Bharati. And there was one barber whose name later became known as Madhu. And Madhu means sweets. He became known as Madhu because that was his last day in the barber business. He was cutting the hair of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It took him the whole day. He'd start to cut one lock of hair, and he'd start crying pathetically. I can't do it. I can't do it. put down his tools. No, Mahaprabhu said, you must do it. It took the whole day for him to shave his head. And after that, he said, forget it. I'm going into a different business. No more haircutting from me. That's the last one. And he became known as Madhu, selling sweets. So Gangadhar Bhattacharya just happened to come there just at that time and he heard Kesava Bharati giving the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya to Mahaprabhu. And that Brahman, Gangadhar Bhattacharya, hearing that name just one time and taking shelter of that name, something happened to him. Sri Chaitanya Nama Vipraloy Barabar Nirantara Dui Nete Bahe Ashudar He Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare. When he heard that name, he just became mad. And he just started chanting over and over again, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He became mad. Rupa Namashrita Vishta. Because he took shelter of the name. This is what might happen to you. If you're lucky, and you come to this movement, you might just become a madman like that. He became mad, and he just started repeating Sri Krishna Chaitanya over and over again. And he ran to the bank of the Ganga at that time, like a mad person. Kshipta Praya. Praya means like a ghost. Kshipta means mad, like a mad person possessed by a ghost. He went running there. And all that he could do all day long, Chaitanya, Chaitanya, Boli Dako Ye Sadai, Stana Bhojanadi Kriya Kichu Nahi Bai, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He stopped eating. He stopped taking baths. If you stop taking a bath, they won't let you come to the temple anymore. But Gangadhar Bhattacharya became just completely crazy. And all that he was doing day and night was just repeating over and over again. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And all the people, they were looking at him. Hey, Keho Karo Pratikahi, what happened? Eva Kiyas charge is very astonishing. Did you hear? Shipta Gangadhar Bhattacharya. The word Shipta is used again. The Gangadhar Bhattacharya, he's become Kshipta. He's become a madman. And now all he's doing is going around and chanting his names, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they changed his name, and he became known after that as Chaitanya Das. And he liked that new name. And when people would address him as Gangadhar, he wouldn't listen to them. He wouldn't respond to that. But only if someone addressed him as Chaitanya Das, then he would respond. So it's a movement started by madmen, propagated by madmen, wanting to make everybody into madmen. It's God's idiots. That's this movement. There's no rhyme or reason, no real reason to do things. So we read a little something to you previously from Chaitanya Bhagavat, that Krishna Jasa, that by hearing Krishna Jasa Sunite, by hearing the glories of Krishna, then you'll meet with Krishna. I'd like to share a little secret with you. It's very amazing and wonderful. Ajapiha Chaitanya e Shabalila Kori, Jakone Jahari Kori Jisti Adi Kari Hey. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Ajapiha, right now. Ajapiha, right here. Ajapiha Chaitanya Shabalila Kori. All the pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu are going on right here. Jakone Jahari Kori Dristi Adhikar. If someone's Dristi Adhikar, they're very fortunate. They have some qualification. They can see those pastimes going on. And Nam becomes non-different from Nami. So we don't separate Gaura Lila from Krishna Lila. We don't separate the appearance of Madan Mohan from the service of the Vaishnavas. If we try to separate the service of the Lord from the service of the devotees, we'll end up with nothing but sand in our hands. Nothing to show for it. Our festivals means that we serve the Vaishnavas, and for no ulterior motive, for no purpose, not to make money, not to do business, as Srila Prabhupada said, but just to make people happy. And it's so wonderful. I love coming here every year because I see the spirit. The devotees here, they just really want to make everybody happy. And that's why they're putting on the festival. And it helps if you give some money, and it helps if you want to come and do some services. But that's not the purpose of the festival, to collect money or to get your body. Krishna is not, it's not the invasion of the body snatchers. Krishna doesn't want bodies. Krishna wants hearts. And the devotees see that. I'd like to share with you a very little known story. How many of you heard of the book called the Narottam Vilas? Raise your hand. Anyone heard of Narottam Vilas? Very nice book. Now there's an appendix to that book. Narottam Vilas was written by Narahari Chakravarti. We just sang a few verses to you about Gangadhar Bhattacharya. That was composed by Narahari Chakravarti. He had a disciple whose name was Ananda Narayan Bhagavat Bhushan, and he wrote an appendix to that Narottam Vilas called Naraharira Vishesha Parijoy. And I was just going through, actually I was finishing it this morning, going through the Bengali and some of this. It's a very, very wonderful story. A story about Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila, a story that's very practical for us, a story about someone who was living at a time of great sorrow because Narahari Chakravarti, he came just a little after Vishwanath Chakravarti, Thakur, and he'd heard so much about him. And he thought, what did I do? What kind of birth did I take place? I have. That I just missed seeing him just by a few years. So he was lamenting and lamenting like that. Where is he gone? And in that mood, he began his Nam Bhajan. He was crying at Ha Ha Rup Sanatan, and crying and weeping profusely and calling out the names of the 6 Goswamis. And Narahari Chakravarti called out, O He Nata Vishvambara Patita Pavan, O He Nityananda Prabhu Dwayara Bhavan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. O Hey Vishvambar, Mahaprabhu Nitai Nimai, your Patita Pavan, the deliverer, the mercy, the fallen. O Hey Nityananda Prabhu Dwayara Bhavan, Nityananda, you're the abode of great mercy. Ha ha Sri Advaita Dev, Kripa Sindhu Murti. Ha ha Gadadhara Prabhu, Prabhu Nija Shakti Hey. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Ha ha Sri Advaita Prabhu, Kripa Sindhu Murti. You're that deity who's an ocean of mercy. Ha ha Gadadhar Prabhu, Prabhu Nija Shakti. You're the Nija Shakti, the personal Shakti, Gadadhar. You're the personal Shakti of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ha ha Haridas, Srivas, Vikeshwar, Mukunda, Murari, and all the Navadvip Parikar, Kota Gela, Prabhu Gana. Where did all those associates go? Hoila Andakar. Ha! It's a very dark, terrible time. Hena Kale, Janma Kena Labalun Munchar. Why have I taken birth in such a terrible time like this? And he started calling out. Kripara Samudamor Prabhu Srinivas. Oh hey Srinivasacharya. Oh Shamananda Ramachandra Narottam. Where are you? Please be kind to me. And he was crying and crying. There was a conversation going on. I didn't tell you that. It's kind of a little complicated and involved. But Narahari Chakravarti was listening to one devotee speaking some pastimes about Vishwanath and others. And he became mad hearing about it. He started crying out like this. And he fell down on the ground and he started rolling. They were at the temple of Govindaji, the old temple of Govindaji in Vrindavan. And he rolled on the ground all the way to Vamsivat, to the place of Gopishwar Mahadev. Now, for those of you who walked there, it takes, I don't know, it's a 10-minute walk or something. It's quite a long ways to roll. He rolled all the way there, crying and crying. And when people heard his crying, this is a Vrindavan community. If you go to the street in Frankfurt or someplace and you start crying, ha ha, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, ha Nityananda, they'll come and they'll lock you up in a padded room. And they'll give you some drugs or something like that, right? But in Vrindavan, the place of no envy, and the place where everyone is an idiot of God, it attracted a crowd. And so many persons, the Brijbasis all came, and they started crying, and they became very ecstatic. They saw in front of them all the different Astasatvikara Bhav, all the different symptoms of ecstasy in Narahari. And they began crying. And then suddenly something happened. And everything disappeared for Narahari. And then he saw his Gurudev, Nrsimha Chakravarti. And Nrsimha Chakravarti was telling him, hey, why are you lamenting? Just look. Do you see? Right over there? Do you see what's there? And he looks there and he sees there's Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar, Srivas, Srinivas, Narottam, Shyamananda, and all the devotees, along with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others. And then he begins to cry. And Nityananda Prabhu said, hey, who's this? And he grabbed him. And he gave him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Mahaprabhu said, who am I? You should go to Advaita. And Mahaprabhu personally gave him to Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya said, don't make jokes. You should go to Gadadhar Pandit. And he gave him to Gadadhar. Gadadhar said, Srivas Thakur is a really great person. You should go to Sri. And he gave him to Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur gave him to Sanatana Goswami, who gave him to Rupa Goswami, who gave him to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who gave him to Jiva Goswami. And in this way, they pass him down to the hands of so many devotees. Until finally, they brought him and they put him back in the hands of his own Gurudev, Nrsimha Chakravarti. And at that time, in his vision, Narahari Chakravarti was having a really good day. Can you imagine? he just lost it. He was just crying and crying and crying. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu again noticed him. He said, hey, who is this fellow? And Nrsimha Chakravarti Thakur said, he's my servant. And then Nityananda Prabhu said something very beautiful. Nityananda bole shabe paye lama suk nadake ami guru mure mukera muk Hare Krishna. Nityananda Prabhu said, paye lama suk, now I'm really happy. Nadake ami guru vimukera muk. He said, I don't want to see the face. Nityananda Prabhu was saying it. That's pretty serious. Nityananda Prabhu says he doesn't want to see someone's face. You should want to know whose face that is. I don't want to see the face of anyone who's against, who's averse to their guru. Guru vimekara muk. I won't look at the face of that person. He said, rather, Vimuki se dhure taka, sange nai janra, mora he Prabhupada napaye se chara he, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Such a Vimuki se dhure taka, he stays far away, sangha nai from our sangha. He can't enter into my sangha. Mora e Prabhupada napaye se char. He said he can't come close to my Prabhupada. Prabhupada meaning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, just see my Shakti. I disregard. Guru Anandari Eka Duracharo. That's such a Durachari person who disrespects his guru. He becomes a wicked rogue. Moravira Deka. You see, Nityananda says, watch. People say that I'm very powerful. And he says, Moravira Deka. You watch my power. Moravira Deka Otare Tia Gila. You see how I reject this person. And I don't care how he's dressed, what initiation he may have taken or whatever. If he's averse to his guru, I don't want him to enter. This is Janmastami. We want to enter into that Sangha. This is Pratyakshavagamam Dharmyam, practical Dharma. This is Bhakti. So at that time, the Nityananda Prabhu said, hey, you deserve some punishment. And he grabbed Narahari by the hair, and he grabbed by the head, and he stuck his head on the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's your punishment. It's a really good punishment. And then Nityananda Prabhu started laughing. He's a madman. He said, so Narahari, what do you see now? Poor Narahari. He's completely lost it. He saw suddenly again that Gaura Lila disappeared. First, that Bhumi Vrindavan darshan that he was having, that disappeared, and he saw the associates of Mahaprabhu, he saw Gaura Lila. And then the Gaura Lila disappeared, and suddenly he saw Vamsivat. And there at Vamsivat, there was a wonderful effulgent throne with a most effulgent girl sitting on the throne and a bluish, blackish boy at her feet. And near them were so many gopis and cows, and wish-fulfilling trees. And he saw an amazing pastime. That Krishna was praying to Srimati Radharani. Krishna was saying, Sri Radhara Bhavi Krishna Parama Vivala Radha Prema Asvadiba Kohi Anagala He Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Bhava Krishna Parama Vivala. Krishna was overwhelmed with Radha Bhav, and he said, hey Radhe, Radha Prema Asvadivi Kore Kahi Anaga. I want to taste your Bhav. That's what I want. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid. He's become enchanted by Madan Mohan Mohini, Radha. And he's praying like a beggar and begging from her, please, please, give me your bhav. Nana Vila Sante Krishna Kohe Evani Tora Bhava Chahi Ohe Vrindavana Rani He Hare Krishna. Vila Shiva Bhakta Sange Prema Sankirtane Radha Radha Boliya Lotada Shri Angane Hare Krishna. He said, hey Vrindavan Rani Radha, Queen of Vrindavan. I'm not the king of Vrindavan. You're the queen of Vrindavan. Let's get things straight here. You give me your bhav. And if you give me your bhav, then Vilasiva Bhakta Sangi Prema Sankirtane, then I'll do Prema Sankirtan in your mood. I'll do Kirtan in your mood. Etika Suniya Radha Adaya Hiyaya Nija Anke Krita Hasadhare Tadekaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Etika Suniya Radha. When Radha heard that, Adharya, she became very restless and disturbed. And she took Krishna's hand in her lap. And Radharani told her, she said, hey, they call me Pagalini Radha. She said, oh, hey, Prananath, Lord of my life, Tumi Brajendanandan, you're the son of the king of Braj. What do you want? a Dukini bhave, with the bhav of this Dukini, this crazy Pagalini, crazy lady. Tumi Vrindavan Raja Rajeshvara. Here in Vrindavan, you're the king of all the kings. Tumari Kisobiveki, a bhavajvar. What do you want with some feverish emotion like mine? Besides, you don't understand the nature of my emotions. If you take my emotions, if I don't see you for just one moment, I go completely mad. Only Lalita understands what happens then. And then Lalita spoke up. And she said, hey, Kalachanda Krishna. Kalachanda Krishna, whose eyes are moving back and forth. You're mystified and ensnared by Radharani's, the playful movements of Radharani's eyes. What can I say about the bhav of Radharani? Someone who says they can understand the bhav of Radharani, that person's a fool. They're trying to describe an ocean by the water in a calf's hoof print. They can't understand Radharani's bhav. And when Krishna heard Lalita's words, in Sham Roy, Krishna, he said, whatever's on my mind is known only by my flute. Well, what does Krishna's flute say? Deko how? Radhe, Radhe. Krishna's flute's always calling out, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And then Krishna began to pray to Lalita. It doesn't work with Radha, she's not going to go for it. He prayed to Lalita. Hey, Lalita, please give me Radha Bhav so that I can clear my debt. Na paryeham niravadyasam yujam susadu krityam vibudaya sapiva. I have this debt to Radha, a debt of love. So you give me the wealth to repay that debt, because I don't have the money for it. I know I'm Bhagavan. It's okay. But I don't have the bhav of Radharani, and that's the only way to repay that debt. And when Radharani heard that, Premamoyi Radha, she caught a hold of Krishna's other hand. And in a very sweet voice, she said, listen, Hari, how is it possible? If you take my bhav, do you know what will happen? You'll become Gora Hari. You'll become golden complexion. Instead of Sham Sundar, you'll become Gora Sundar. And you'll start rolling on the ground like a mad person. Your body is so soft, it's like butter. How will you be able to tolerate it? So, I'll tell you what I'll do. When you roll on the ground in that kirtan like that, I'll cover your body in the form of your complexion. And thus, Sham Sundar became Gaur Sundar. And it was a very good day for Narahari Chakravarti. He saw the pastimes of Mahaprabhu and their associates, and then suddenly he saw Radha and Krishna. And then he saw right in front of his eyes Krishna begging from Radha, and then he saw Radha and Krishna become one as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And then he kind of regained external consciousness. And what did he do? He jumped up by about 6 feet off the ground and started shouting, Haribo! 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 And all the devotees, the Brijbasis, were all gathered around him, and they all became ecstatic. Yes, yes, this is Janmastami. Now Bhav has returned, Prema has returned to Vrindavan. This is the purpose. Jai Rupa Chinte Dasi Se Rupa Hoy. We want to enter Rupa Nama Ashrita Avishta. We want to enter into Krishna in this sense, when we become so much absorbed in serving Krishna by serving Krishna's servants. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has commented on a nice verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Let me read this verse to you, or sing it to you. Janma janma tomara paile mora sanga Toma sabara britye edo kebe mora ranga he Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram. Mahaprabhu told his devotees, Janma janma tomara paile mora sanga, that birth after birth you'll have my association. Not just you. Toma Shabada Britye. Your Britti, your servants, Odeki Be Moraranga, your servants will see my pastimes. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati comments, when the Lord performs his pastimes in this world, his associates come with him and they engage in his service. Persons who are counted as servants of those associates also receive the opportunity to realize those pastimes of the Lord. This is our Janmastami, that we want Krishna to enter into our hearts. And therefore we call such persons idiots, but not ordinary idiots. They're God's idiots, mumbling and prattling the many names while onlookers say they're crazy, entering and not entering cities, standing still or swaying. Before a laughing world, they dance, they leap, undone by feeling, and the gods bow down before them. So this is a few thoughts about Janmastami and how we can establish it a little better. And I have 3 minutes I'm going to claim from the boss. 3 minutes. Does anybody have a reflection or comment we can do in 3 minutes?
I just you were saying before in the previous class how your Guru Maharaj said that Krishna consciousness was simultaneously the greatest joy and the greatest misery. I was wondering if you could comment on that.
Because when we become Krishna conscious, when you become conscious of Krishna, a hankering arises in the heart where you want to be with Krishna, you want to touch Krishna, you want to serve Krishna. But then you don't see Krishna. And it's the most intense pain that anyone can ever possibly imagine. But simultaneously, it's also the greatest happiness. And I'll quote something else from my Guru Maharaj since you're mentioning him. I'm taking my 3 minutes. He once asked us in a big assembly of about 100 devotees there, he said, what is ISKCON? And he answered the question himself. He said, ISKCON is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Not a very difficult question. And then he said, who's really a member? And he answered the question himself. Someone who's really Krishna conscious. And then, much to my embarrassment, in front of everybody there, he pointed at me. And he said, Madhavananda, not yet joined. So sometimes people, they ask me, when did you join ISKCON? I said, well, I'd like to, but I haven't joined yet. What does it really mean to join this society? What does it really mean to do Janmastami and Tattva? We should think about that. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ju ki, Shri Krishna Janmastami Maha Mahotsava ki, Gaur Premanandi, Vancha Kalpatarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Bhyeva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.